How's she going, boys? Mike here, welcome back to Grampie's workshop. I'm so glad you dropped in today. A little maintenance project underway this morning in the shop. If anybody ever watches Brice Pender, it's a great channel. Brice is a small engine magician, I'm telling you that, boys. He can fix small engines, there's no two ways about it. Anyway, in Brice's shop he has this hydraulic table that he puts his mowers on, then he pumps it up and it brings it up to a nice working height. It's a great back saver and it makes it a lot easier working on the equipment. So when I saw that table I thought, boy, I gotta have one of those. So I bought myself one. It was about, I don't know, a couple of years ago now that I bought this table, and it works great, I have to say. So thanks a lot, Brice, for this idea. In fact, I liked it so much I called it the Pender Lift. But I'm having problems with my Pender Lift, and what happens is when I pump it up, it'll seep back down in a little lower. So I pump it all up to a good height, and then as you're working on it, it gets lower and lower and lower. And I don't like that. So we're going to try and fix that today. So here's my Pender Lift, and I put a chainsaw on it just to put a little bit of weight on the table. And I pumped this up about 20 minutes ago and set my saw on it. Now look at what happens. So it dropped down a fair amount, and that's the problem I'm having. It's a good height now for working. Like, see, it's really nice. You can see things good, but it leaks down. The lever on it here, of course, you can lower things down yourself if you want. And that's nice to have as well. So I want to find out why my table is leaking down. So usually when I work on stuff, I like to put it on the Pender Lift, lift it up and work on it. But I don't know how to work on the Pender Lift because I don't have a Pender Lift to lift up my Pender Lift. But anyways, I think I'm going to stand this up on its end, see if I can get a look at the jack down there and see what's going on, see if we can figure out why it leaks down. Alright, here's the meat and potatoes of the whole thing, I think, right here, down here. This part right here that I'm pointing to that has the spring over it. That's the plunger that causes the jack to pump up. This spring here and cable is the cable that goes up to the lever, and then there's a little that connects to this arm that pivots right at this point here, and that when you pull on the lever like that, you see this pivots and pushes in this plunger right here on the side, and that's what releases the pressure and lets the pump come down. What I'm thinking is, my problem is that I've got this plunger on the side here that releases the pressure is not coming out all the way. So in other words, it's not fully sealed off, so we have fluid leaking past and allows the cylinder to come down. So some things you can do to address that is, if I loosen this nut right here, what this nut does is it adjusts the actual, I guess, effective length of the cable going up to the hand lever. So if I were to turn this, I'll get my hand on it here, if I adjust that to make this cable longer, then that means it won't pull in so much on this lever and not push in so much on the release pin. So you can see as I turn that, I don't know whether you saw it or not, but this was coming out some. As I'm screwing this adjustment in to this flange, it's allowing that cable to push down further and not push in on this release plunger. If you can follow all that. So I'm thinking if I can get some gap between this stud here and that plunger, then it won't leak. I'll know for sure it's not leaking. So I'm going to try it just by loosening that and turning this out. And also by lengthening that, I should have lots of gap in there now. Okay, so I have this pin loosened right off, so there's lots of gap now between the release plunger and this actuator pin. So I'm going to turn that just till it touches. Okay, so that's just touching on that release plunger. So I'm trying to make an adjustment on this stud so that it won't touch on that release plunger. But in order to do that, that release plunger comes it comes past the face of this bracket. So what I'm thinking the problem might be is this release plunger is too long. So I'm going to take this bracket off right here, make that a little bit shorter, and that should give me more adjustment here. Alright, to get this off, we need to release this. Come here, you. And then there's a cotter pin in here that we're going to take out. Take this pin out of here. And now that arm can come right out now. So now that that's out, what was happening was the release rod was going right in here. I had to unscrew that past the face of the flange so that the release rod could fit right in there. Okay, so what I've done is I've put my lift up on my table now. So I've released the cable, taken the pin out so I can take this little bracket out. So now what I want to do is take this release plunger here, and I'm just going to shorten that up a little bit. I took my marker and put a red mark on there about 1/8 of an inch wide, and I ground off about 1/16 of an inch off of the shaft. So now we're going to put this bracket back in place and see if that made any difference. Alright, I've got this back together and my cable reconnected. And what we're going to do now is we're going to try and set this screw-in stud just so that it touches the end of that shaft there. So that's just touching the shaft there now. Or the plunger, I mean. So there's a little bit of clearance now between this stud and this plunger. And it's out past the face of the bracket. So I'm going to take the Pender Lift down off the table, put it on the floor, and see if it makes any difference. You can't jack it up when it's on the table because when it's upside down it doesn't work. So, alright, my cable is way too long right now. So we have to shorten it. Alright, we got it back on and I think I have the cable adjusted a little bit better. So we jack it up. When we pull the release, the tail goes down, but slowly. But maybe if there's more weight on it, it'll go down quicker. You don't want it to go right down right quick. Alright, we're going to leave it like that, come back in about a half hour and see if the table dropped any. Sticker time again at Grampie's workshop. Oh yeah, you gotta love it. I got a letter today in the mail all the way from British Columbia, Canada. Can you imagine that? Came all the way across the prairies, that's why it's so flat. Anyway, I got this letter from Craig at Everyday Projects. He lives in British Columbia. He's got a nice channel. He's rebuilding an old house that he bought, and he's putting concrete countertops in it, in his kitchen. You should check that out. He's doing a really nice job. It's a pretty interesting channel the way he's doing his concrete. And also he does a lot of car repairs and just general, you know, work like we all do around the shop, around the house, around the camp. Anyway, he sent me a nice little sticker. How about that? Everyday Projects. Also, he sent me a little note. Craig's quite a character, I have to admit, you know, like, he's a special kind of a guy. So here's the note he sent me. So I'd like to read it to you, but I'll just try to highlight. He says, "Dear Mike and Nanny," Nanny appreciates that, "it is so much fun to see your channel and interact in the comments." Anyways, best wishes as always from Craig at Everyday Projects. Way to go, Craig. Okay, buddy. All I can say is thanks a lot for the sticker. And I think I'm going to stick him right here. What do you think? Is that a good spot? Except I'll put them right side up. I like your stickers, Craig, because they're easy to peel. Look at that. Everyday Projects. Some nice channel. If I were you, I'd go check him out. British Columbia, Canada. Great guy. Okay, it's been about a half hour now since I pumped this up, so let's see. She's up her. Didn't drop, didn't sink at all, so that's good. That's what I want to see. And when you pull the lever, it does go down, although it goes down quite slow. I'd like it to go down quicker than that, but anyway, it does go down. So anyway, I think this is better, but it's not ideal just yet. Well, you know, I got the lift working, the Pender Lift. I'm glad of that. It's working better. It's not 100% the way I would like it. I would like to be able to get it to drop down quickly with nothing on it, and then slowly if there was something on it. I guess what I'm saying is I'd like to be able to throttle that lever a little bit and let the lift down slow or fast. So maybe some more work. But in the meantime, I got my Pender Lift working and I'm happy for that. Also, if you get a chance, check out Bruce's shop, Brice Pender. He's a small engine mechanic magician. You won't be sorry you tuned in. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, take care. Don't forget, thumbs up me, ring the bell too, that's a good idea. And leave a comment. We'll talk.